Okay, I'm ready to talk about it because somebody should have told me. I tried bodybuilding and I tell you this, what I'm about to tell you right now is the 5 things that they do not tell you. I feel like all the videos I watched, they were very much sugarcoating. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you what it really is and what to expect. Peace. I am Coach V, and I tried bodybuilding as a absolute beginner, and I'm going to tell you exactly how that went. And the 5 things they don't tell you about bodybuilding. And the first point is stress. They do not tell you how much stress you are going to be under. And I don't just mean physically, like actually working out. That surprisingly, that's probably the easiest part is the physically working out. The stress that I'm referring to is the mental stress, the mental strain for starters, right? There is a lot that you're going to go through. The body dysmorphia is going to be high, okay? For some reason, you change into a different person, the way you think, because guess what? Everything you're doing, everything you're eating, everything that goes into bodybuilding, right, allows you to change into a different person, not just physically, but mentally. You have to be so mentally strong. Okay, I don't care how confident you are. I'm a Leo moon, if you know what that means. So I have built-in confidence. It doesn't even matter. Like, this will break you down. It's gonna build you up. I mean, if you prevail, but it's also gonna break you down. It is gonna stress your body to a point that you've probably never pushed your body before, right? So not just the mental, now we're talking about the physical aspects. You have to get your body fat percentage so extremely low, right? And from my particular experience with being a woman, sometimes your body will fight you. You get to a certain body fat percentage and your body's like, nah, man, we want you to live. So, no, right? And you can be doing everything 80%, 90%, 100% perfect, and your body will fight you. It's your first time doing prep, right? Your body's never gone through this before. It's basically on famine mode, right? Your body's like, hey, man, I don't know what we're doing, but it's my job to protect you, right? So that is very stressful when you're doing everything you're supposed to do. It's very, very stressful, if I cannot stress that enough. Point number 2, it is extremely time consuming. Very time consuming. I don't care what category of bodybuilding you are doing. It is extremely time consuming. From my personal experience, right? It is very time consuming for a few reasons. Number 1, food. Your food is not normal. You're measuring everything. You're putting everything on the scale. Every single thing that you put in your body, you have to measure. You can't just intake something and not be tracking it and knowing what it is and why it is you're putting it in your body. So measuring your food takes time. You can't just eat. You can't just scoop it out the pot, put it on, like, that's not your life anymore when you're bodybuilding, right? When you're on prep. And I feel like that wasn't stressed enough. How time consuming just the food aspect is, prepping all your food, being in the grocery store all the time, right? Good thing I like the grocery store, but good gravy, huh? Like, it's so much time just going into your food. Then your supplements, right? You're gonna be on, I don't care what anybody tells you, you're gonna be on supplements, right? And I have been training natural. I train natural, but there's still a million supplements that you're gonna have to take and that you're gonna need. That takes time, right? And all these things add up. At first you're like, oh no, it's fine, it's just this, just this, just this, just this, just this, just that, just that. It turns into a lot, right? Small numbers add up. So with that being said, not only does the food take time, of course, your workouts take time. Your workouts are different now. You can't rush anything. Everything has to get done. For me, the lowering the body fat was really, really, really big for me with wanting to compete in bikini, right? You got to get down. You got to get that waist. You got to get that midsection down, right? Which I found to be pretty hard for me, right? But that requires cardio, right? But guess what? You still got strength training you got to do. So you might be either doing 2-hour workouts at one time or you're working out twice a day. You got to have your cardio that's probably going to be 45 minutes to an hour, depending on your coach, your category, your body, all that good stuff. And then you got your strength training workout. So like that takes time. You got to think about your schedule. You got to think about work. Like you have to have the lifestyle that accommodates bodybuilding. They don't really talk about that. What is your lifestyle like? Do you even have time for this? Right? Do you have the mental capacity for this? And that is going to segue into my next point, number 3. It is going to take time for your body to change. I feel like one of the things that was really difficult for me was really the body dysmorphia, right? Obviously, you look great. Your coach might tell you you look great. You're doing a good job. Okay, shoulders are capping off, great. But in your personal view, you're like, nah, it's not enough. What Kendrick say? It's not enough. Like that's kind of what I dealt with the most, which I'm not used to with being a really, really confident person, right? So I was just really hard on myself. Like, no, this is not enough. And then I noticed that it took a really long time for my body to change completely. You may think like, oh, 16 weeks, right? You got 16 weeks until the show. That's plenty of time. It very well may be. If you've been on prep for a while, if you've been on bodybuilding prep several times over or even one time before, your body's probably going to react differently. You already know what's coming. It's probably going to be a lot easier to prep in 16 weeks, right? If you've never done this, you have to give your body time to change, right? You have to give your coach time to figure out your body because bodybuilding is very different from regular training. So as y'all know, I am a coach, right? Bodybuilding is not that. Right? So thank God for King. If you guys don't know King, he's an IFBB pro. I'm going to put him up here on the screen because he's freaking awesome. King, if you're watching this, you're amazing. Don't give up on me. I want this. I'm going to push for this. So a lot of people who are watching this, y'all have seen like the first 2 bodybuilding videos and you're probably like, oh, well, what happened? It's stressful. It's a lot of work. It's more than what I expected. That's what happened. It's a lot. And we're going to get into not only taking time for your body to change, right? Because it was really hard for me to like get my midsection down. Like, yeah, it might look fine to the naked eye, but you're trying to meet criteria. Okay. And that brings me to number 4. You are training for criteria. This might be hard to swallow, but you are training for criteria. You have to look a certain way. Depending on what category of bodybuilding that you're actually doing and competing in, you have to fit the criteria for that particular category. Therefore, your workouts are very calculated. They're very meticulous, right? You could look great. You could look fabulous. But guess what? If you're doing bikini or you're doing fit model and your quads are too striated, guess what? You're not going to be first. You're just not. You may not be top 3. It really, really boils down to the criteria. To give you a quick story, I'm training with King one day and we're doing tricep cable push downs, right? I had did 20 that like he told me to do. After that 20, I felt fine. Right? So I kept going. He had to say, oh, no, stop. Like, we're not doing that. We're not going till failure, right? Because that is going to produce a different result than what we're looking for. Your arms are going to be too big. We don't want you just growing like crazy. So the way that you train is very meticulous and you're training for criteria, right? That's another thing that really affects you mentally, right? And maybe your body dysmorphia because you're really, really looking at yourself because you have to fit these categories, right? You can't just look great. That's not part of it, right? Every category is completely different. So you have to fit that particular category. You're not just training to train, you're training for criteria. All right, and last point number 5, I saved it for last because most people do know about this, but I'm going to stress it a little bit harder. Bodybuilding is extremely expensive. They tell you that, but I'm going to tell you again, bodybuilding is extremely expensive. You have to be ready for that. I thought I was ready for that. I very much was not. Okay, now why is it expensive? Let me just throw some things out there, right? First of all, you gotta pay for your coach. I do not suggest trying to go into bodybuilding without a coach, even if you've done it before. But I'm specifically talking about my personal experience and being an absolute beginner. What sense does that make for me to not have a coach, right? Like, thank God for King. If y'all are not following King, if you didn't follow him the first time I mentioned it, go follow that man. If you need a coach, find him, go to him. He's great. Okay, can't stress it enough. So you got to pay for your coach. Guess what? Those supplements I mentioned earlier, you got to pay for supplements as well, and it's a lot. What do you mean by supplements? Well, protein. You may be on fat burners. You may be on creatine. You may be on L-glutamine. You may be on fiber pill. You may be on. Need I say more? You know, like there is a lot that goes into that, and depending on what brand you're picking, how many servings, how much you're taking every day, you're gonna need to replenish that. This stuff ain't cheap, huh? America is expensive. It is really expensive if you don't know. Then guess what else you got to pay for? Your gym. Where are you going to work out, right? Your gym membership. Depending on what gym you're going to, if it's a luxe boutique, even if it's a cheap gym, guess what? They have an annual fee. And like I said earlier, small numbers add up, right? So you got your coach, you got your supplements, you got your gym. Well, guess what? What are you going to eat? Groceries. Groceries is going to add up very, very quick, really quick, right? Because depending on what you're prepping for, you're going to have to eat, and you might be eating a lot, right? Like a lot of little meals. It really depends on the coach. Either way, you're going to need fuel. You're going to need the right fuel. You can't cut corners, right? That's another realization that I had. Like, you cannot cut corners in this, right? Because you'll see it or not see it, right? You cannot cut corners. I'm used to being a really, really healthy person and just doing healthy options, working out, getting gains. That's it. I got used to that. I got comfortable with that. Bodybuilding, it ain't that. It's not that. It won't be that, right? All right, what else is expensive? Well, what about the show itself? You have to pay, if you're doing NPC, right? Was it the National Physique Committee? You have to pay to be in the competition, right? You got to pay to have the competition card. You got to pay for each category you're going to compete in. That's a lot, right? You got to pay for your hotel or Airbnb fee, right? You may have to pay for your coach's hotel and Airbnb fee because you don't want to be there by yourself, right? You got to pay for that too. Let's talk about the suit, huh? I've been waiting a long time to talk about the suit. Suits are expensive. These suits be more than my car payment, period. I'm gonna tell you right now, because you're like, how expensive? More than your car payment, expensive, okay? The average suit is like $625 to $800, and I kid you not, I wish I was exaggerating. I wish. I'm gonna show y'all some suits because y'all need to see the reality is somebody needs to tell you that. When I came into this, I was like, oh, $250 for a suit, that's it. No. Then you need shoes. Obviously, I'm speaking from the woman's perspective. Men, I don't know y'all perspective. Won't ever know your perspective. But either way, it's expensive, right? For men, you guys still have to pay for spray tanning, just like women have to pay for spray tanning as well, right? So when you really think about it, right, especially from the women's perspective, you have your suit, your hair, your makeup, your jewelry, your shoes. All of these things, including your spray tan, add up, and they're pretty much necessary for this industry, right? So those are my 5 things that I wish somebody would have stressed to me. I feel like a lot of bodybuilding videos are very sugar-coated. For the people that's been following for a long time and you really want to know the details about my bodybuilding journey and what happened and all of that, I'm going to go into it really quick. So basically, I started bodybuilding and it was a complete shock. It was a complete shock. As a coach, I'm used to working out. That's fine. But the caliber of working out, the types of workouts are different, right? With me being, an entrepreneur, it's a lot. Like it's a lot trying to make sure that you have everything done here for your business and everything done here for your body and for this competition you're preparing for, right? Because you're working with your clients and you're working with yourself, right? Because you are a client of your coach. And it became a lot, especially when I started transitioning, because I was like part-time working out of a gym and then part-time working for myself. Now it's not really like that, you know? So it's mostly just me doing that change while doing bodybuilding. Insane. Guess what other change happened? I started culinary school. Surprise, surprise. More videos on that. I'll have a segment on my culinary school journey, but I'm telling you guys, you have to have the lifestyle. You have to have the space for it. It just began to get too much for me where I couldn't focus on it. I didn't have enough focus to give to it. It became extremely expensive that I wasn't prepared for. Other life things had hit me and I'm just like, I have to pick and choose. I basically was stretched thin. I remember one day, you know, King and I are going over the numbers and he's like, hey man, you got to up your cardio. You're simply not there, honey. You got to up your cardio. And I was already doing as much as I could in one day. It was insane, right? Like I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get another session of cardio in with the first session I already have. Strength training sessions with my clients. Like there was culinary school. There was no way I was gonna fit in another session of cardio unless I take away sleep. And I kind of sleep, right? The gains are really not gonna come then. And then guess what else, y'all? I actually work part-time in the kitchen at night, right? So I'm working overnight. I'm getting up early doing cardio. Like it was not sustainable. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Bodybuilding is difficult. It's hard. It's not pretty. It will break you down. It will test you. It will hold up the mirror to everything that you are, all of your flaws. It will show you right in your face and say, hey, look at this. And you got to sit there and say, this is me, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the everything. And you have to persevere because you got a show to do. With all that being said, I'm going to try again. I put a pause on it. All of these daunting things I just told you about bodybuilding, guess what? I'm still about to do it. And I'm going to try. So I feel like part of the reason why is because I have to prove it to myself. I have to prove it to myself. I set out to do this. I got to do it. Now I'm bigger. Now I'm better. I'm stronger mentally. You know, I have the schedule. I got to do it. Number 3, King. I got to do it for King, to be honest. Right? I have to be a good client for him. I got to show him like, hey, you not giving up on me, you being patient, you know, it was not in vain. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a waste. Like I can make it. I can get there. I'm a good canvas. I can be a really good client. I can be coachable. Like I have to do it. I can't let that man down. Right? Like that's a big part of my motivation is just like proving it. Right? Sometimes it's easier to do things when you're just not doing it for you. And honestly, that's a little bit stronger for me. Right? So that is the 5 things. That is my background story on what happened with this whole bodybuilding journey. And I look forward to retrying, right? Redoing it again and coming back better. Now that I know what the heck I'm getting myself into, I think I can handle it a little bit more, especially the supplement thing. From a person who doesn't even take medicine, right? I'm not really like a Western medicine type of person. The supplements was very hard for me. It was weird. It was interesting to say the least. But now it's like, okay, I know what this is going to do to me. I know this is healthy. I know this is okay. I know how my body responds. I'm telling y'all, this industry is no joke. So shout out to everybody who's ever competed, who's ever tried to compete it, never made it on the stage, whoever, wherever, however associated with bodybuilding. Shout out to all the coaches that are coaching people because it is a lot. They're basically part-time therapists, right? So shout out to everybody. Shout out to you for watching this. Like, subscribe, stick around, leave a comment, say something nice, don't, whatever, man. I appreciate y'all. Coach V out. Peace.